What I wanted to say, Jana, I was. So, laconic voce gidek. This is laconic style when it is very short. Where do you know where it comes from? No. Well, in ancient Greece, ancient Greece.
Yes.
Ancient Greece.
Antic Roman, yeah.
In ancient Greece, there was a king. He was Alexander the Great's father.
Greece.
Greece, okay. Alexander the Great's father. By the way, the world calls him not Alexander of Macedonia, but Alexander the Great with Macedonia. Alexander the Great's father, his name was Philip, if I'm not mistaken. He invaded almost all, there were city-states. Or state cities, like Sparta, Athens. In ancient Greece, there were state cities, Grada Gasudarstva, or state. So, and he invaded almost the whole Greece, and there was only one part which he didn't invade. What is invade? So, invazively. Invazively means invasive метод, invasion, and he invaded all cities except Laconia. And he couldn't invade Laconia, and he sent one of his people there with a letter. The letter said, if I invade your country, if I invade your country, I will ruin it. If I invade, I will ruin it. If I invade, I will ruin. If I invade, I will ruin. And can you think of what the answer was? The answer was if. One word, if. And that since then it came here.
This genius. Yeah.
So there are laconic,
шикарный банал лаконик.
Yes. Okay. We have very interesting. Arjan, can I please ask you to plug in the computer? Plug in. Plug in. Plug it steps in. Plug in. Plug out. And then could you pour a little bit water to me as well? Okay, now, Okay, now let's come to our student's book, page 48. How much do you know about Amazon rainforest? What is rainforest?
Forest
Tremendous
antarına, джунгли.
Ha, jungli, tropicnere.
Tropicnere.
Amazon rainforest. I think Amazon tropicnere. So they are called rainforest. Now let's see how much we know about Amazon rainforest. Rainforest.
I know that they are very dangerous.
Yes, they are very dangerous. Yes, we can finish at 5:30 or at 6. Let's say 6. Huh? Or 5:30. Okay, let's finish at 5:30. Okay. So without a coffee break.
Yes.
Ancak di bana gönari. Так, давайте, Erheycan, this is not about English. This is just knowing. Let's try to see how much we know. Okay.
Rockefeller return. Որտեղ կորավ։ Որտենց մի բան եմ կարծում։
Так, давайте, Erheycan, let's read this. Page 48. Ederek Vanna. Давайте, Erheycan, let's begin reading.
How much do you know about the Amazon rainforest? In small groups, complete the missing words. The Amazon rainforest is in the continent of South America. It's roughly the size of roughly
грубо. То есть грубо, այսինքն по грубым подсчетам, ничего точно, էլի։ Ինչի չափ կլի, ընդրիցը просто պետք է ասեմ։
the size of
Africa, America, դժվար Ամերիկայի չափ լինի։
Չէ, Ամերիկայի, Աֆրիկայի չափ էլ չի լինի։
Աֆրիկայում էլ վայ, այդքան չէ, այդքան մեծ չի։
Argentina, maybe չորպետության։
Maybe Australia,
հա։
The smallest continent, էլի դժվար թե ինչ որ երկիր լինի։ Եթե կոնտինենտ, ոնց պետք է կոնտինենտա, բայց եթե կոնտինենտա, չէ, Australia չափ հաստատ չի, Australia չափ հաստատ Australia-ից մեծ է 100%։ Yeah, I think Australia maybe. Anyway, then we can like check. Давай, Herminda.
It covers a total of 9 countries, including Brazil, Bolivia,
Paraguay, I don't know.
And Chile.
Chile,
Chile անապատա։
Երկարա։
Անապատա այնտեղ, ատակաման։ Հա, անապատա այնտեղ, Չիլիում։
Կոլոմբիա, կարող է։
Կոլոմբիա, հա։
Չէ, երեխեք, Կոլոմբիա։ Կոլոմբիա, երևի։ Պրոստ Կոլոմբիա։ Չէ, առանց չկա, այդտեղ մենակ սիա, էջ չկա։ Չէ, դա պրոստը Չիլին ինձ թվում ասենց ինքս ինձ երկա, ամբողջ
Չիլին անապատային է, այնտեղ բան չի, հա։
Շատ է, արևադարձային չի, Չիլին ընդեղ է ներքևի մասը, որ հասնում է։
Ատակամա է անապատում այնտեղ։
Իսկ ընդեղ ցուրտ է, բանա, Южный полюсի մոտ սարսափելի ցուրտ է, որ Սիբիրը։ Yes, I think Colombia, not. And here maybe Peru, maybe Paraguay, I don't know. Okay, one of them.
The Amazon River, which flows through the northern part of the forest, is south
River in the world.
բանը ուտմասի
երկարությամբ որն է երկրորդն է աչքիս
Ah,
առաջին
second.
նա
Negos.
Second. is the second largest longest հա կարող է ջրառատն հա բայց այս նույնը էլի պետք է դες դրաս
second largest longest
Longest.
երկարությամբ
երկրորդ ամենաերկարն է այս հաստատ հոսը
The tree canopy
չէ
salty, but the forest floor is always
ինչա canopy երեխեք
what is
canopy ինչա երեխեք canopy-ն вообще ծածկ է չէ canopy-ն ծածկ է եւ այլն իսկ tree canopy-ն ինքը հydrone դերևը ոնց է հայերեն
Սաղար, թե։ Սաղար։
ինչա սաղարթ հա մի վարքան ես ասեմ the tree canopy հա canopy-ն սաղարթն է հա is so thick այսինքն սաղարթը այնքան խիտ է որ the forest is always dark the floor is always dark այսինքն այդ ներքևը forest floor հատակը էլի ներքևը միշտ մութ է այնքան որ շատ սաղարթը բան է այդ խիտ
some trees grow up to 200 feet high. There are about 50
indigenous what is indigenous բնիկ բնիկ ինչ է կան հիսունս ձեզ ընդեղ ապրող tribe tribes tribe цер 50 indigenous
tribes living in the forest that have never had
had any
Դերմինախադասում ջարդը
outside world have never had ինչ
any
ինչ չեն ունեցել ինչ չեն ունեցել
connection.
connection կապ հավանաբար կամ connection կամ contact կամ contact երկուսն էլ կլինի have never had any contact կամ connection with the outside world հա կամ contact կամ connection contact-ը երևի ավելի շատ էլի ոչ թե կապ այլ բան contact ավելի շատ էլի contact-ն ավելի շատ դավայ
some of the most dangerous animals in the world live in the forest. These include
poisonous ինչ է poisonous
Թունավոր։
poisonous թունավոր poisonous snakes fern ինչ կարա լինի frogs
ճիշտ է։ And spiders.
frog good
And spiders, maybe.
spiders as well as jaguars and piranhas.
piranha you know
Ձկներ, հա։
yes now very interesting something yeah some little interesting a little bit sad let's read
Said.
lost in the jungle ja Worried. Said that you're lost in the jungle.
Lost in the jungle. Four young men went into the Amazon jungle on the adventure of a lifetime.
Adventure of a lifetime.
Արկածներ, կյանքի արկածներ։
Ոնց նենց մի հատ բան, որ ամբողջ կյանքում կհիշվի, էլի։
Only two of them would come out alive. In 1981,
Only two of them.
in 1981,
Not alive. Կենթանի։ Ամենակ երկուսը դուրս կգան կենթանի ջոկլերներից։ Դավայ, սեջա, տատա։
in 1981, three friends went backpacking in the Amazon rainforest in a remote area of Bolivia. Yossi Ginsberg, 22, and his two friends Kevin Gale, 29, and Marcus Tam, 29.
Backpacking, went backpacking. Ուզա պարկերով գնացին բան շրջելու. Yes. Давай, Enjan, go on.
They hired
What is higher?
Վարձել.
Hiring manager.
They hired an experienced guide, an Australian named Carl Rector, who promised that he could take them deep into the rainforest to an undiscovered Indian village.
Հասկացան։
Then they would raft nearly 125 miles back downriver.
Rafter?
Նավարկել։
Rafting-ը ինչ է։
Ջրի հոսանքով
Ջրով ուշնելը, հա, and then they will raft.
Carl said that the journey to the village would take them about 7 days. Before they entered the jungle, the three friends made a promise that they would go in together and come out together.
They made a promise. Давай, Tilanjan. What is set off? Put it.
Settled from the town of Apollo and
Yok ben cana para.
uh,
Put it of put. Set off. Давай.
set off from the town of Apollo, and soon they had left civilization far behind.
Had left civilization far behind. Հետևը թողեցին, էլի civilization.
But after walking for more than a week, there was no sign of the village, and tensions began to appear in the group.
Tension, բան, напряжение, լարվածություն։ Ուզում ես մի հատ էլ կարդալ։
The three friends started to suspect that Carl didn't really know where the Indian village was.
Started to suspect is
Կասկածել։
Սկսեցին կասկածել, որ Կարլը չգիտեր որտեղ է բանը։
Yossi and Kevin began to get fed up with their friend Marcus because he was complaining about everything.
Became fed up. Այսինքն շուն զզվել, նադայել էին եղել, հա։
Especially his feet, which had become infected and were hurting.
He was complaining, especially his feet. Ողոքում էր հատկապես ոտքերից, that had become infected. Ինֆեկցիա էր անցել, infected. Ու ցավում էր։ Հերթ ցավ պատճառել, ցավեցնել ինքը բան փոխաբերականով էլ է ցավեցնել հերթը, բանի վիրավորելու իմաստով, էլի։ Չէ, սիրտ ուրիշ դեպքում, սիրտը սենց է, heart է, սենց է սիրտը։ Так, давайте, Jan, then,
Eventually, they decided to
abandon, թողնել, լքել,
They decided to abandon the search for the village and just hike instead of rafting back to Apollo the way they had come. But Kevin was furious because he thought that it was Marco's fault that they had to cut short their adventure.
To cut short, այսինքն կրճատել, Furious կատաղած, Furia բառը ռուսերեն ստեղից է, Давай, Սեջան։
So we decided that he would raft down the river, and he persuaded Yossi to join him, but he didn't want Marcus.
Համոզել, ուղղավարից
Persuaded,
համոզել։
to join him, but he didn't want Marcus to come with them. Marcus and Carl decided to go back to Apollo on foot. The three friends agreed to meet in a hotel in the capital La Paz in a week.
Yes.
Early the next morning, the two pairs of travelers said goodbye and set off on their different journeys.
The two pairs of travelers, huh? Huh? Yeah. Yes. Now let's see what happens next.
Mm.
Oh, 5-8.
5.8.
Yossi and Kevin soon realized that going by river was a big mistake.
As Kaçar, they realized
5.8.
Yossi and Kevin soon realized that going by river was a big mistake.
As Kaçar, they realized that going by river was a
big mistake.
It was a big mistake.
The river got faster and faster, and soon they were in rapids.
They were in rapids. Rapids are like high range parody. And what and Jurasens Katrukishnu Maheli, parody. Geti parogner, high range one such big them. Za paroj. And what Jervechi Pats versus get and parody, high range.
The raft was swept down the river at an incredible speed until it hit a rock.
Huh? At an incredible speed. On the Caraveli Arabic champion raft. Until it hit a rock. Rock. Driver. Rock.
Both men were thrown into the water.
Both men were thrown into the water.
Kevin was a strong swimmer, and he managed to swim to land. But
he managed to swim to land. Kevin was a strong swimmer.
Yossi was swept away by the rapids.
Yossi was swept away by the rapids.
But Yossi didn't drown. He was carried several miles downriver by the rapids.
Several miles. He was carried away. Several miles.
But he eventually managed to swim to the riverbank.
To the river bank. Bank up. Get in the bank. So in the shore, get in a bank. Bank in the management.
He was totally exhausted. By an incredible piece of luck, he found their backpack floating in the river.
By an incredible piece of luck. He found the backpack floating in the river. Backpack.
The backpack contained a little food, insect repellent, a lighter, and most important of all, the map.
Food, huh?
He was totally exhausted. Backpack contained a little food, insect repellent.
Insect repellent and ban atbu gibi işi nasıl komuketen var mesroş.
Lighter, and most important of all, the map.
A lighter,
and a map, huh?
And most important of all, a map.
A map. Carter.
But the two friends were now separated by a canyon and 3 or 4 miles of jungle.
But now they were separated.
Բաժանված էին իրարից։
Canyon, Kirchhoff, huh? And several miles of jungle.
Canyon.
It turns out they were
Canyon. C-A-N-Y-O-N. Grand Canyon. Huh?
5.9.
Kevin was feeling desperate.
Was feeling desperate.
He didn't know if Yossi was alive or dead, but he started walking downriver to look for him.
He didn't know if he was alive or dead. Huh? He started to walk down the river looking for him.
He felt responsible for what had happened to his friend because he had persuaded him to go with him on the river.
He thought responsible, huh? Because he persuaded him to go down the river.
Yossi! Yossi! Yossi, however, was feeling very optimistic. He was sure that Kevin would look for him. So
he was sure that Kevin would look for him.
Started walking upriver, calling his friend's name.
He started walking up the river.
But nobody answered. At night, Yossi tried to sleep, but he felt terrified. The jungle was full of noises.
Terrified?
Suddenly, he woke up because he heard a branch break.
He heard a branch break.
He turned on his flashlight. There was a jaguar staring at him.
He turned on the flashlight and there was a jaguar staring at him. Stare.
Yossi was trembling with fear.
He was trembling with fear.
But then he remembered something he had once seen in a movie.
He remembered something that he saw, he had to see in a movie.
He used the cigarette lighter to set fire to the insect repellent spray.
He used the cigarette lighter to set fire to the insect repellent.
And he managed to scare the jaguar away.
And he managed to scare the jaguar away. Now, no, what to do if you meet a jaguar?
After 5 days alone, Yossi was exhausted and starving.
Starving? Galadat. Was exhausted and starving.
Suddenly, as he was walking, he saw a footprint on the trail.
He saw a footprint on the trail. Footprint?
It was a hiking boot.
It was a hiking boot. Hiking
It had to be Kevin's footprint. Kevin! He followed the trail until he discovered another footprint, and then another. But suddenly he realized that the footprints weren't Kevin's footprints. They were his own. He had been walking around in a circle. At that moment, Yossi realized that he would never find Kevin.
He realized that he would never find Kevin.
In fact, he felt sure that Kevin must be dead.
He felt sure, that Kevin must be dead.
He felt totally depressed and at the point of giving up.
And then the point of giving up, to give up,
Bu saat
At the point of
Press.
depressed. Depressed. Depressed.
Gerçek ne olsa sanıyor.
Five point 11.
But Kevin wasn't dead. He was still looking for Yossi. But after nearly a week, he was also weak and exhausted from lack of food and lack of sleep. He decided that it was time to forget Yossi and
He decided that it was time to forget Yossi
try to save himself.
and try to save himself.
He had just enough strength left to hold onto a log and let himself float down the river.
Let himself float down the river.
Kevin was incredibly lucky.
Kevin was incredibly lucky.
He was rescued by two Bolivian hunters who were traveling downriver and committed to him.
He was rescued by two Bolivian high hunters.
Borsort nereye?
Floating down the river.
Borsort nereye?
The men only hunted in that part of the rainforest once a year, so if it
The men hunt in the rainforest only once a year. He was incredibly lucky.
had passed by a short time earlier or later, they wouldn't have seen Kevin.
If they had passed by a little later, they wouldn't have seen Kevin.
They took him back to the town of San Jose, where he spent 2 days recovering.
They took him to the town of San Jose, where it took him 2 days of recovering. Yes, course.
Yossi.
5.12.
As soon as Kevin felt well enough, he went to a Bolivian army base and asked them to look for Yossi.
He went to Bolivian army base. Told them to look for Yossi.
Mi amigo se pierde en la selva. Debes buscarlo?
Mi amigo
The army officer he spoke to was sure that Yossi must be dead.
The army
But in the
officer.
end, Kevin persuaded them to take him up in a plane and fly over the part of the rainforest where Yossi might be.
The army officer was sure that Yossi was dead, but he persuaded them to take a plane and fly over the place where Yossi might be.
But the plane had to fly too high over the rainforest, and the forest was too dense. They couldn't see anything at all.
The plane had to fly too high, and the forest was too dense.
It was a hopeless search.
It was a hopeless search.
Kevin felt terribly guilty.
Felt terribly guilty. Guilt? G-U-I-L-T-Y. G-U-I-L-T-Y. Guilty.
He was convinced that it was all his fault that Yossi was going to die in the jungle.
He was convinced that it was all his fault, guilt.
Guilty. Снятость, и кабастан с кехтотен гучи, guilty абсолютно, guilty абсолютно, кехтотен.
Gucci guilty, merhaba. Guilty merhaba. Fault merk. Բայց fault-ին արդեն մեղավոր չի։ Երբ որ ասում ենք fault-ը մեղքն է, fault-ը նաև բանն է։ Սխալ, իզյան։
It's my fault.
It's my fault. Իմ մեղքս է, իմ սխալս է։ Չէ, նաև ասեն բան I think as when it is faulty, but easy